Deep breaths. We all need to take them a time or two. And I'm here with Juliet to share our 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method to center your soul and find gratitude in this life.
Mama says namaste. Mama says namaste.
Making a family can be easy and fun.
Oh yeah, but raising a family can be a whole different story.
From spouses to kids to the crazy daily grind, life often directs us away from connection and more into reactive chaos.
If you're tired of that cycle and are seeking something beyond the picket fence blues, this is the show for you.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Nathan.
And we're here to take you from chaos to clarity by bringing awareness and intention into your home, not waiting for one day, and highlighting how the uniqueness in each of us strengthens all of us.
Take a deep breath in and let's start a brand new day. With Mama says namaste.
There was a time that, Juliet, you did a lot of meditations for Mama Says Namaste. It's been a while since we've done any of those, hasn't it?
It has, definitely.
Yeah, so we were thinking of what to do for this week, and I had a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise, and I thought this is a good, not quite a meditation, but a good exercise or practice that we could do.
One way that we like to reset is by engaging our senses.
What do you mean by engaging our senses?
Just noticing and being grateful for the tiny things.
Oh, okay. And it sometimes helps to be grateful for the tiny things when you separate it out into a different sense, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I can look around this room and I can be like, yeah, I'm grateful for this house. And it's just... it's big and it's lofty and there's a lot of different things in it. But there are so many things within this house that I could really address that I'm grateful for. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 practice, we use the senses to focus in on specific things. So the number 5 is for 5 things you can see. What delights you? What is something that you when you see it, it makes you feel good? What are some examples for that, Juliet?
5 things that I can see that I am grateful for are the dragons hanging around that Clara put so much work and effort into, which I think is a beautiful thing. And then I see the Field Trip Gypsy sign that our cousins made for us, and I'm grateful for that. Because it's like we've had it for so long, it just brought so much love into this house. And I'm grateful for the dream catcher that's hanging above Mommy right now that has just been there for so long. And we've just added little feathers and stuff all everywhere.
And it hangs in our bedroom in our RV.
Yeah, added just so much to make it truly ours.
Yeah, I love those. Let's see that you did 3, so I'm going to name 2 more. I love over our bed, I have all of our crystals, and we have crystals that my brother and sister-in-law got us for Christmas, where they picked a specific crystal out for each family member. And I have those over my bed along with some greenery and some baskets, and it just looks put together, and it brings me joy because I'm a visual person, and what I see really impacts my mood, doesn't it? I like a clean house. I know that you recognize that, don't you, Jules?
Yes.
And then another thing that I am grateful for is a big goofy pillow that we have that it's one of those sequin pillows where it's got all the sequins on the front and you can make a design on it. And I never ever would have gotten it, but it was something that Nathan, that your daddy, got on a whim as a gift for me because he thought I would like it. And it was a completely random purchase and is not necessarily our style. And yet it catches the light and shoots a prism of reflection on the walls that make it all dance. And I love that. And I love when the sunlight hits it. So, there are little things. It's not like we named anything that was of major significance. For the majority of it, it was handmade things or little things from somebody that cares about us. And when we can stop and we can look at those little things and simply just stop and look and observe. Sometimes we are so busy doing, we just don't stop and look at things.
Mm-hmm.
So with your exercise of 5, look for 5 things that delight your eyes.
And if you can't find anything, maybe try stepping outside and trying to find 5 things outside.
Oh, yes, because outside you've got a plethora of opportunity. You've got so many things to look at, and you can go all the way down to that one little blade of grass and just appreciating the intricacy of it or the color of it. So there are so many opportunities to look at what you see and choose to be grateful for those things that you see that are a feast for your eyes and that bring you joy. All right, number 4 things you can feel.
Ooh. Well, 4 things I can feel is naturally clothing.
But let's talk on clothing for a minute. That's a
Okay.
biggie because I think I know there was a time in my life where I would put on clothing that I didn't necessarily enjoy wearing. And it was uncomfortable, or we'd have scratchy materials. I have definitely noticed that the clothing I wear and the comfort I feel in it is really important. The more comfortable I feel in my clothing, the more comfortable I am in my skin, literally. And that shows even in my confidence level and the way that I interact with others. So I'm not having to sit there and think about how itchy or uncomfortable my clothing is. So yeah, being comfortable in your clothing is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that what you choose to put on your body feels good in the way that it literally feels and in the way you feel when you wear it.
Definitely. Another thing is just be appreciative of like everything that you see, like the ground, or like feel the ground. The ground feels good right now on my feet.
I want to talk about that one for a second.
You do? Okay. It's
Yes.
going to be like a bunny trail after bunny trail after bunny trail after bunny trail.
Well, because that is another thing that is really big and important to us, isn't it? And that's grounding.
Yeah.
All right. Can you talk, what's grounding?
Grounding is when you when you have your bare feet on a surface that usually feels like it's hugging you. I kind of use that as my thought, because when you have your bare feet on the ground, outside, inside, on a carpet, on just the floor, just taking a moment to go outside, or taking a moment to go on that plush carpet, or taking a moment just to ground yourself in something that makes you feel good.
Right. Grounding, we take our shoes off and we go barefoot and we feel the ground beneath us. And our biggie is going outside and feeling it. And I think that there are so many things that open up for that. I mean, it's not just the feeling of the ground beneath our feet, but it's the connectedness that we feel when we do connect to the energy of the earth. And again, you can look at the science of it and the electromagnetic waves and how we actually do connect with the earth. And the more things we have in between our feet and the earth that block it, the rubber soles and everything else, the more we can be disconnected. And we are definitely in a world where it's
easy to be disconnected.
Yeah, there are many of us that have lost that connection to the earth, to the food we put in our bodies, to our own bodies. And doing something as simple as taking our shoes off is a great way to recenter and to truly feel the earth beneath us. And yes, I definitely use that one a lot of times. If I need a reset, I'm going to go and ground myself outside. So yeah, grounding ourselves, the clothes that we wear. What are some other things for feeling?
Well, I feel the rubber bands around my wrists, which I honestly don't really know why I like that so much, but I feel kind of just put together when I have that finishing of rubber bands around my wrists. It's kind of funny, but yeah. Another thing is that my hand's on my parents' bed, and I love the feeling of their comforter? Is
The
it
quilt.
quilt? Okay.
Yes, so as you can probably guess, we are recording this in our bedroom. We're in the fifth wheel, and the back bedroom is where we typically tend to record. So we can shut the door and stay quiet back here. But yeah, I love that you did put in that about the rubber bands, though, because what feels good to one person may not feel good to the other person. I don't necessarily want a bunch of rubber bands on my wrist, but I understand what you say about it, feeling put together. I'll say I feel naked if I don't have my watch on because I've had it on for so long. It feels funny if I don't have it on my wrist. And so, just those little things. We don't even pay attention to that. We don't pay attention to the things that we wear on our wrists or the jewelry that we have on. But then when it becomes so much a part of who we are, we do notice when it's gone.
Yeah.
And it feels different. And so what are those little things, those little feelings that you can pay attention to throughout the day that might bring gratitude? I know that you and I both really love just feel-good materials. I like soft, snuggly blankets when it's not 100 degrees out. And finding things that just feel good to the touch.
So the third is 3 things you can hear. What is music to your ears? If that's a bird, if that's literally hearing mommy talk can be a sound that I can take off of that.
That's music to your ears?
Yes, it is.
Good. Juliet, go clean your room.
No, not that. Like, I hear the fan blowing. I hear the occasional mumble from the back room.
Uh-huh.
I hear the walkie-talkie going.
Yeah, we got the walkie-talkie in the other room. We're volunteering today, and we're hearing that walkie-talkie going off this morning.
Uh-huh.
Yes, it's things you can hear, and sometimes it is literal music. I know my mom always had background music playing, and she loved to have classical music, and I would go to sleep every night listening to the Nutcracker Suite and all kinds of classical music, and I loved that. In our household, we're often playing Michael Franti in the background or some sort of upbeat music, or we'll just do beats that don't have any lyrics.
Yep.
So there's a lot of literal music that comes into our lives, but we also pay attention to what do you hear. Sometimes when it's really stressful, just stopping and silencing everything in your mind and just listening can help you to pinpoint maybe what might be causing attention. And what I mean by that is I know that there have been times where the energy in our house is good, and then it starts to get to this amped up, uncomfortable feeling. Mm-hmm. And when I stop and listen, I realize that we have the music going at the same level as 3 people all trying to talk at once. And it's way too much, and it's a competition of noise. And when I stop and tune in, I realize, okay, we got too much right now.
Yeah. And I was also thinking about, maybe it's also the silence that you're hearing. And maybe you're just enjoying the silence. And though that's kind of the opposite of hearing something, I feel like you can still hear it. It's kind of...
You hear the white space.
You hear the white space. And maybe at times, we have to try to work in that time to have the white space and hearing the white space.
That's very true. You're right. There is... we used to have a poster that actually said, "Silence is white space for the soul." And I love that. Yeah. So when you look at what you can hear, sometimes it's not noise at all. It's actually seeking out the silence. But what can you be grateful for when it comes to the things that you're tuning into? What are you choosing to tune into? And what other things might you add? Maybe what you've been tuning into is the negativity of your coworkers or the whining of your kids, and it's created more of this negative story in your head, where you can flip the switch and you can start to say, this is what I'm hearing. I'm going to turn that volume dial down. I'm going to turn up the one that says, I am grateful. I am happy. I am kind. I am at ease. And you start to create these I am statements that become the new things that are the mantras you hear in your head.
Mm-hmm. So number 2 is 2 things you can smell. Don't just sit there smelling the kitty litter and expect you to be peaceful. That's not how it works. What are the soothing smells? Like sometimes we don't do this all the time, but sometimes we'll light a candle that has a pretty smell, Or when Daddy's cooking, it always smells amazing. Or sometimes, like when Clara and I are doing some baking or making pancakes in the morning, it's just find the smells that soothe you and like find a way to incorporate those into your life. And that's right. Incorporate. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Incorporate those into your life. And because when you're feeling stressful, the senses, like what we've been going through here, the senses are what will kind of bring you back. And it's really important in smelling. If you need just to relax, light a candle that smells. If you need to have a little more energy, maybe make a spicy food and have that smell in the house. So,
or like Daddy's kimchi. Kimchi gives a very interesting smell to the house, like for farts. Sure. Yeah, I don't know that I would add kimchi as your choice of things to smell necessarily, but it tastes good. But yeah, what smells will calm and soothe you? And I know that oftentimes we have different, we put different memories around different smells. And so, smelling, chocolate chip cookies may be really great for one person who grew up doing it with their grandparents. And for the other one, it's every time the chocolate chip cookies were made, it was the mom about to have a big lecture and give a guilt trip. And they don't have the same scent and appreciation with those cookies. So oftentimes we link our memories. And so go back and think about where have been those most joyous times in your life and what things were you doing? What were you smelling in the process? Man, I love the smell of flowers. I love the smell of fresh cut grass, ironically, because I don't want grass in our yards anymore. But just the smell of it brings back memories of summertime and playing around as a kid in the yard and everybody outside doing yard work and how much I loved that.
Maybe you love the smell of just rain, like after it's rained, that like musty, not musty.
It is kind of
musty.
It is kind of musty, and it's not something that I would buy a deodorant that smells like rain, but to go out and to smell, just the freshness and the mustiness of the rain after a rainfall is really enjoyable.
And if you have flowers in your garden or somewhere in your backyard, try smelling those. I know that usually a majority flowers don't always smell, or they don't always smell good. But there are
Stop and smell the flowers so isn't good. Always a good thing. You're right. Sometimes they don't smell that good, but there are ones that are so fragrant. You're right. Yeah. And that idea of stopping and smelling the flowers, just taking the time to soak in the beauty. Something like flowers. And so many things are going to hit more than just one of these senses. You're going to see the beautiful color. You can feel the softness of the flower petal, and you can smell the wonderful smell of a fragrant flower. So there are a lot of these where when you're needing a reset, you do one thing and you actually touch on a lot of these.
Yeah.
All right. So what's our last one then?
Number 1. One thing that you can taste? Simple pleasures, like if you have a Dove chocolate or a cracker in the middle of the day, something that brings you joy. And like Mom was saying, maybe it brings back good memories. Maybe it's just something that you're trying new and you're going to find you like it or you don't really like it. Maybe, but sometimes you just got to include those tastes inside your mouth when you're feeling stressed or angry or uncomfortable. Sometimes that can just bring you back to thinking another way.
Yeah. I mean, I did an interview a while back with a friend, Alyssa, who said, who was talking about getting out of survival mode. And I'll link to it in the blog that goes along with this. And, she was talking about engaging the senses as a way to get out of survival mode. And taste is a big one there. If you sit down with a warm cup of tea, you're engaging the senses in so many ways. You're feeling the heat of the teacup. You're smelling the smell of the tea. I'm sitting here drinking Earl Grey lavender tea right now. I drink a cup of tea every morning, and I have Earl Grey lavender with a little bit of oat milk and maple syrup in it, and it's so good. And you may be feeling the warmth, you may be smelling it, you may be tasting the sweetness of it, and it helps to reset. And the reality is that when you are in survival mode, the whole focus for survival mode is don't be killed, don't be ejected from the herd. And you don't have time to sip tea. You're just fighting for your life. And so just doing a reset of intentionally sitting and sipping that tea, remind your body, remind your mind that you are not in a fight for life right now and that you are okay. And so sometimes these little steps of engaging the senses help to jar us back to the reality of what is right in this moment and the good we can find in this moment that's going to give us the hope to move forward. All right. So we have gone through all of the senses. Can you do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 again for us here, just to recap it here at the end?
Yes. So, 5 things you can see. Look around you and find 5 things inside or outside. You can do this entire exercise outside and you'll still find everything. So 5 things you can see. Something that brings you joy. And then 4 things you can feel. Feel your clothes on your body. Make sure that you're paying attention to that, to what clothing you're doing. And if it makes you feel a little more stressed, like, this is itchy and I don't really feel like doing this, but I've got so much other things. Like, take the time to wear something that's comfortable. Take the time to ground yourself. Take the time to feel things around you that might bring you comfort. Number 3 things you can hear. So, listen around you and find the things that soothe your ears. Maybe have a little bit of background noise, background music. If you need to calm down, a little bit of like soothing jazz kind of music. And if you want more of a high energy, you could do something with or without words, a song that you enjoy a lot. And just listen around you to the tiny things that might bring your awareness a little more and make you more grateful for those. Number 2 things you can smell. If you smell something that smells bad, try to find it so that you can feel better, because smells it's a really important part, because what you smell is, I would say, just like 99% of what you taste too. Because
so if you smell something bad, you want to look for something good to counteract that smell. Is that what you're saying?
I guess. I think that you just need to surround yourself with the smells that make you feel good. If that's a scented candle, if that's a glass of tea, if that's the smell of rain or fresh cut grass. Number 1. One thing you can taste. So find a treat, maybe a pretzel or a Dove chocolate or something. Or a cup of tea. Or something that just brings you a warm feeling, or something that just brings you joy. Because I feel like when you're eating something you don't like, it feels like you lose that joy of something that you do like. So try to replace those.
Right. So our challenge to you this week is to do this with your kids. Sit down and do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise with your kids. It's really cool to see what your children may choose when you let them lead, and just asking them, what are you grateful for that are 5 things that you can see, versus what are 3 things that you hear right now. And it's interesting what they choose to pick out and why. So it's a great exercise for you to recenter yourself and to really find gratitude in the present moment. And it also is a really great exercise to learn about your family and learn about the things that they are stopping to pay attention to, and the things that they are choosing to be grateful for. The more we can take those little moments to stop and really address what is and what is right in front of us, the more it can center our soul and give us the opportunity to celebrate how the uniqueness in each of us strengthens all of us. Namaste.
1, 2, 3. Up with the rising sun. Oh, yeah. Life is a tangled mess, and you don't have to stress. Mama says namaste. 'Cause today I will stand up and be all the change that I want to see in this world. Boys and girls, you gotta have to stand up to be free. Namaste in your heart. Take a deep breath in and let's start a brand new day. With Mama says namaste.